Hello everyone. Before we get started, if you enjoyed this video once it's done, please like and share. Also, if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you cut on all notification bells so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. Thank you. This is something creepy, and it's something very unexplainable as well. Even to this day, I don't know what I walked into, but wherever it was something that I don't think a lot of people are ready to believe or accept. It happened 15 years ago. It was back in 2011. I drove to a campsite to go camping, and I usually do that by myself a lot. But the one thing I like about this camping place, there's a cave that I always like to go exploring in, but I never had the chance to because I never bring the proper equipment to do cave exploring. But this time around, I came prepared for camping and to explore that cave. And I plan to stay out in this campsite for about 4 days. Once I set up my usual campsite area that I've been camping at for about 3 years now, I got to work, I set up my tent, and I had everything prepared. Afterwards, I decided to go ahead and start exploring that cave. It was very early in the morning when I went out for this camping trip. It was around 7:30 a.m., so I knew I had a lot of time. Once I got everything prepared, I got myself ready to make the journey up to that cave. I was intrigued by that cave, and I wanted to always go inside and see what lies in there, what history could be found in there. When I got in the cave, there was a very long walk in there. It was still light inside the cave, but then once I made a sharp left turn, everything got darker. I kept on walking, and I noticed that the cave started to get a little bit more narrow, but the ceiling got more higher. As I kept on going, I grabbed a flashlight and I used it as it got pitch black. I looked around and the cave looked really nice, looked beautiful. I kept on going, and then up ahead there was an opening. Once I got there, I saw that there was a lake and there was a waterfall inside the cave. It was beautiful. I had no idea that something like this existed at this campsite. I didn't realize what I was missing. The water was clear and it looked like it was drinkable. As I looked around, I noticed something strange. I looked closer and I realized it was some carvings. I took a good look at it and I realized it looked pretty old. I don't know how old it was, but it was pretty old. It was a carving of stick figures, and they were all kneeling down, worshiping something. I don't know what it was, but the way the facial expression looked of the stick figures, it looked like they were scared of something. And the way that this drawing looked, it looked like it was this cave. And then I noticed all of them were scared and kneeling down at something, but it was invisible or they didn't draw it. I don't know, it's hard for me to explain. As I kept on looking, that's when I noticed something horrifying. I saw a bunch of human remains, bones, everything. I knew that they were bones. I was freaking out, and I decided that maybe I should get out of the cave. I started to feel uneasy about this cave. I was enjoying it until I saw the drawing and the human remains, the skeletons and the bones. Before I even thought about anything else, I heard something weird, something that terrified me, that made the hairs on my back stand up. I heard some kind of noise. It sounded like an animal, but I didn't recognize this as any type of animal that I ever came in contact with. It sounded off, sounded sinister. It was a growl, and then it screeched. Then I heard some footsteps. I didn't know where they were coming from, but then I kept on hearing more screeching noise and more growling. It was coming from everywhere. I looked all over the place, and then I had to snap out of it. I was thinking to myself, why was I trying to look to see where the noise was coming from instead of getting the fuck out of here? And so that's what I done. I made my way back into the area that I walked at to get here, and I ran. As I was running, I started to hear multiple footsteps. I don't know what was chasing after me, but I did not want to find out. I kept on running as I kept on hearing that screeching, growling noise. It was almost like something or some kind of creature, some kind of animal. I don't know what it was. They didn't want me inside this cave. It was almost like I was trespassing. And so I kept on running. And then finally, I made my way out of the cave. I kept running though. I didn't stop until I got back to my campsite. But when I did, I sat there for a few moments, thinking that everything was over. And as long as I don't go back in that cave, it would have been all right. But I was wrong. About 3 minutes later, the tree branches from my campsite just started to snap. All of them, everywhere, just started to snap. It was freaking me out. The trees, they were moving on their own, really aggressive. And the thing about it wasn't windy at all. This kept on happening all around me. And that's when I realized I gotta get out of here. I didn't care about wanting to camp for 4 days. I wanted to get out of here and head home. As I was making my way out of the campsite, walking back to my car, I just felt like the forest or this campsite area, something felt off and different. Before, everything felt calm and relaxing, but after I investigated inside that cave, it felt like the campsite didn't want me there. It's hard for me to explain it. I felt like I was unwanted, like I was stepping into sacred territory or something like that. After that, I got in my car and I drove off, and I made a vow to never go back to that campsite again. It's been 15 years since that happened, and I've never stepped foot there again. I haven't heard anyone else talking about experiencing anything like that, but then again, maybe they never went inside that cave. I won't ever go back there. Ever. I don't know what that was or what those things were that were chasing after me, and I don't want to guess. I'm glad I didn't turn back, because if I had probably would have saw what was chasing me, and that probably would have been something that my mind has yet to comprehend.